Thank you, Andrew. I'm Senator Ron Johnson. I'm a U.S. Senator. I represent the state of Wisconsin. I want to thank Andrew for his courage. Being one of the few in the U.S. Congress that has been raising these issues, I know really how lonely it can be, and how you were attacked for just raising what most people should be considering as a pretty legitimate question. So, Andrew, thank you for your courage and for your advocacy. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical researcher. My background is in accounting. The closest I've come to medicine is as a manufacturer for 30 years, providing plastic packaging material for things like endoscopic surgery devices. So that's as close as I've come. But at the start of the pandemic, I was the chairman of the Senate Oversight Committee. And seeing as other committees that you really should have been holding hearings on early treatment, on putting the pandemic in perspective. It wasn't Ebola, it wasn't SARS, it wasn't MERS. Very early on, we knew that the infection case fatality rate would be somewhat similar to a bad flu season, but yet everybody's freaking out. They were pushing the fear. So I started holding hearings, trying to put that in perspective, gave doctors like Pierre Corey, Dr. McCullough, Dr. Harvey Risch, George Fareed, others, a platform to question the narrative of what I in America called the COVID cartel. But we lost our majority. I lost my chairmanship in 2021. And so not having that chairmanship, all I could really do is hold public events. So the first public event I held was in Milwaukee in June of 2021, where I gave a number of vaccine-injured individuals the opportunity to tell their story, hoping for some measure of sympathy from the media. They literally got none. I followed up with another hearing with vaccine-injured and medical experts in November 2021, pretty much the same reaction. I followed that up in January of 2022 with probably the most popular event we put on, which was called COVID-19 A Second Opinion. And this is where we assembled close to 24 medical experts, people like McCullough and Corey and Dr. Merrick and Dr. Ryan Cole, he'll be here, Dr. Milhoan, a group of world-renowned medical experts, scientific researchers. And fortunately, because of my advocacy early in 2020, I was connected to this group of doctors, and I realized that there was a second opinion. And certainly from my standpoint, that's what we've always been told in medicine. If you have a serious medical condition, get a second, maybe even a third opinion. But that wasn't allowed. And so I guess I've been asked to chair this because I've done a pretty good job of keeping people on task, keeping them within their time frame, which I'll do here today, including myself. So let me make a final point. I've been asked to write a couple book forwards. I'm working on one right now. I was writing it yesterday, and let me tell you the point I'm making in this forward. Again, this is 4 years after the declaration of the pandemic. And I would say if I were asked if I was categorized global population, I'd put them into three categories. First, by far the vast majority of people are individuals that just want to move on. Whether they suffered from injuries or potentially caused injuries, with the best of intentions. They just want to forget the pandemic ever happened. They want to move on with their lives. They don't want to even consider that something they prescribed, pushed, recommended, or took, the vaccine, could have caused harms to themselves or to their patients or their constituents. So again, that's by far the largest group of people. I think societally, globally, we are in a massive state of denial, but that's the majority of people. Now, a second group, and I put myself in that category, is during the pandemic, our eyes were opened up. Now, some people already had their eyes open. Parents with already vaccine-injured children from the childhood vaccine schedules. People like Bobby Kennedy. These people already understood the corruption of federal health agencies, of the medical establishment. One thing that we have in common in the second group is once your eyes are opened, you cannot close them. And you feel pretty well compelled to try and awaken others to what is happening globally related to our freedoms, to our personal health. The third group is what in the U.S. they call the COVID cartel. In the U.S., it'd be the Biden administration, it'd be our federal health agencies, it'd be big pharma, who've completely captured our federal health agencies, plus they've captured the other COVID cartel members, the media and social media companies. That is the COVID cartel. That's the third group of people. These are the individuals that lied to the world public. These are the people that sabotaged early treatment. These are the people that pushed lockdowns that were devastating, mask mandates that they knew wouldn't work, all toward the goal of trotting out this mRNA vaccine platform that could be so highly profitable for big pharma. These are the people that caused this. They will never admit they are wrong, ever. And by the way, most people globally don't want to admit they were wrong. Listening to people like Fauci, taking the shot. Again, we're in a massive state of denial, but again, the COVID cartel, that third group, these people that caused all the damage. And what's unfortunate is they have the power. Again, they're the media. They control the social media. We've seen in lawsuits how our federal government pretty well coerced social media to censor individuals, to push lies, to censor the truth. So they have the power to make it almost impossible for us to prove them wrong. So that's where we are. 4 years after the declaration of the pandemic, the COVID cartel is in still firm control. They are depressingly effective at not being able to admit they were wrong or having to admit they were wrong. That's why you're hearing all these explanations now of cancers about accelerated aging. I mean, they're just pulling these things out of thin air. Cancers in young people are being caused by accelerated aging. You know, we get a new term, sudden adult death syndrome. We'd already heard of sudden infant death, but all of a sudden there's this new syndrome, and they're just baffled by what might have caused it. So again, we have a huge challenge in front of us. The reason I certainly agreed to do this, I think it's very important that for anybody who's looking to find the truth, they're seeking the truth, and they have to be given that truth. They have to have access to it. And again, I'm just pleased to be associated with these courageous doctors who have put their careers on the line. They've been persecuted, they've been vilified, but these are the people that can speak with authority and give you that second, that third opinion that you probably haven't heard in the mainstream media or the social media. So let me stop talking. Let me turn over to our first guest, and I'll ask all these guests to introduce themselves. You know a whole lot more about your background, about your qualifications, but we will start with Dr. Angus Dalgleish, who's an oncologist in the UK. Doctor?